We open on a quick, nostalgic sweep of mid-90s New York and cut straight into the 3rd annual Manhattan Comic-Con, where the energy is loud, nerdy, and wonderful. Fans swarm booths, artists sign comic books, and a few brave souls cosplay in outfits that probably seemed cooler at home. Holden McNeil and Banky Edwards are signing their hit comic Blunt Man and Chronic. A fan ecstatically tells them he loves the characters. Another fan shows up and lights the fuse, calling Banky just a tracer, and that Holden is the real artist. Banky snaps, and the two get into a scuffle until security drags the guy away. Holden pulls Banky aside, and the two head out to their panel. Hooper X is on stage, calling out the racism in comics and movies while promoting his own comic, White-Hating Coon, as a way to empower black readers. Holden and Banky poke fun at him, and Hooper snaps and pulls out a gun and shoots Banky. The audience panics and clears out fast. Banky then gets up, revealing it was all a staged stunt to draw attention to Hooper's comic and rebel image. Hooper introduces Holden and Banky to Alyssa, another comic creator. Holden is instantly a little smitten, and Hooper invites them all to a party. At the bar, Hooper makes a wild claim that Archie and Jughead are secretly lovers. Banky blows up at the idea and says that Archie is straight, and the two start arguing. They head outside to buy Archie comics and settle the discussion, while Holden and Alyssa stay back, amused by the chaos. Holden and Alyssa chat about Banky, their comics, and their careers while casually playing darts. Alyssa heads out after a while, and it's clear Holden is fully smitten. Hooper and Banky return, still arguing about Archie. Hooper spots Holden's crush and tells him to stay away. The next morning at their apartment, Holden and Banky are working on their new comic when Hooper calls, inviting Holden to a party that night, adding that Alyssa asked for him. Holden lights up and tells Banky he and Alyssa shared a moment the night before and that she likes him. Holden and Banky arrive at the bar to meet Hooper. Alyssa is already on the dance floor, and Holden can't hide his excitement. Hooper tries to stop him to say something, but Holden ignores it and goes straight to Alyssa. Banky complains to Hooper that the place is packed with women. Holden and Alyssa chat with each other. A woman on the mic calls Alyssa up to sing. Alyssa dedicates the song to someone special, performs, and when it ends, she walks over and kisses a woman passionately. Holden is stunned seeing Alyssa kiss a woman. It hits Banky that they're in a gay bar, and he finds it absolutely hilarious. Banky and Holden watch as Alyssa and her friend keep kissing. Banky jokes that they're getting a free two-girl show without paying. Alyssa's friend heads off to dance, and Alyssa casually tells her she wants to hook up later. Although Banky is stunned, he and Alyssa dive into a wild chat about the details of their past hookups, complete with stories of injuries, and they're cracking up like old buddies. Holden, meanwhile, looks bored and uncomfortable. Finally, Holden's had enough and drags Banky out of the bar. The next day, Holden and Banky wait at the publisher's office. Holden's still grumpy after finding out Alyssa is gay. Banky admits he doesn't understand lesbians. The publishers arrive with huge news. They love the comic and want to turn Blunt Man and Chronic into a cartoon series. Later that day, Alyssa stops by Holden's place and playfully teases him for storming out after learning she's gay. They head out for a walk, talking about work and the previous night. Alyssa tells Holden she likes him but wants them to be friends. They end up discussing the details of lesbian relationships and how intimacy works, and Holden is definitely surprised by a few things he learns. At the train station, Holden and Banky are getting ready for the Boston Comic-Con. Holden complains about Banky hauling a stack of adult magazines and walks off to call Alyssa. While talking to her, Holden changes plans on the spot, ditching Banky and skipping the trip so he can hang out with her instead. Over the next few days, Holden and Alyssa spend more and more time together, and Banky starts getting annoyed. Banky is annoyed that Holden is changing because of Alyssa. They get into a heated argument. Holden turns to leave, but Banky stops him and yells that this is wrecking their work and their friendship. Holden finally snaps and shouts that he's in love with Alyssa, and Banky walks away. Holden and Alyssa finish dinner, and on the way out she haggles over a painting in the diner. Later, as they drive through the rain, she insists Holden should keep it to remember their friendship. Holden suddenly stops the car and confesses he's in love with her, saying he had to tell her even if it destroys what they have. Alyssa is stunned and steps out of the car, furious that he didn't consider her situation. She tells him to just go home. Holden starts walking away in the rain until Alyssa comes running back and embraces him tightly, admitting she loves him too. The next morning, Banky walks in to find the place a mess and Holden and Alyssa asleep on the couch, basically naked. Stunned, he quietly steps back outside. Holden follows him out. Banky tells him this is headed for disaster, insisting Holden is too conservative while Alyssa has lived a much wilder life. Alyssa is hanging out having fun with her friends when one of them asks where she's been for the past month. She says she's fallen in love. When they ask with who, she tells them his name is Holden. Her friends are stunned. Alyssa has always identified as gay, but they congratulate her anyway, still processing the shock. Holden and Alyssa lie in bed talking, and he asks her why she chose him. She explains that when she was younger, she also dated women because she didn't want to limit herself to just one gender while searching for that one person who truly felt right. And now, she says, she's found that person in Holden, that he makes her feel complete. Banky hands Holden Alyssa's high school yearbook, pointing to her nickname, Fingercuffs. He explains he ran into an old classmate, Corey, who told him how Alyssa got the name. Back in school, Corey, Rick, and Alyssa were at Rick's place and all three got intimate, and that's how the nickname came from her being locked in from both sides, like a Chinese finger cuff. Holden refuses to believe it, but Banky keeps pushing. Holden snaps and storms out. Holden meets Hooper and admits the whole finger cuff story is eating at him, even though he knows it shouldn't. Hooper tells him the smartest move is to just ask Alyssa directly and clear it up before it poisons the relationship. Holden and Alyssa are at a hockey game. Alyssa is having a great time, but Holden is quiet, struggling to bring up the finger cuff story. He starts with small questions, then finally asks what the nickname means, who Rick and Corey were, and Alyssa just says they were friends in school. Holden keeps pressing, and Alyssa finally snaps. She admits she did get intimate with both Rick and Corey. She's furious he didn't just ask her directly and storms out. Outside, they argue. Alyssa lays out more of her past, saying they were her choices and she will not apologize for them. Holden's conservative side can't handle this. Alyssa tells him that despite everything in her past, he's the only one she's ever truly felt right with. She says she loves him deeply, but Holden can't accept her past and breaks up with her. Holden is heartbroken. Over breakfast with Jay and Silent Bob, the real-life inspirations for Blunt Man and Chronic, Holden mentions he's going through a rough breakup. To his surprise, even Jay and Silent Bob know about Alyssa and can't believe she was dating him. Holden admits he can't stop picturing her with other guys, even though he truly loves her. Silent Bob tells Holden a story about his own past, about a girl named Amy who he loved and how he ruined it because he couldn't handle her history. Ever since then, he says, he's been chasing Amy. Back at his apartment, Holden sits down with both Alyssa and Banky, determined to fix everything. He has trouble dealing with Alyssa's past, and he also thinks Banky is in love with him, and that's why Banky dislikes Alyssa. Holden then makes a wild proposal for the three of them to sleep together to solve all their issues at once. Both Alyssa and Banky are stunned. Alyssa is horrified and says this would only make things worse and probably leave Holden hating her in the end. She slaps him for even suggesting it and storms out. Banky silently retreats to his room. Holden is left alone, realizing how badly he's messed things up. A year later at Comic-Con, Banky is signing copies of his new comic. He and Holden have gone their separate ways. A fan asks about Blunt Man and Chronic, and as Banky looks up, he spots Holden across the room. They exchange a familiar nod. Alyssa is signing her own comic when Holden places his new comic, Chasing Amy, on her table. She looks up, surprised to see him. They share some small talk, and Holden explains the comic is about their story and his way of apologizing. He turns to leave, and they share one last look.